Hello and welcome to the Huddle. I'm your host, JT Thomas, broadcasting live from the Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting after watching the Mountaineers not play this week. Here I have joining me Sam Marone, WVU former player, 2004 to 2008. As you guys know, my good friend Gary Tompkins, 1995 to 2000, right? 99. And then we got our new friend. This is Isaac Farabee. He is a junior at WVU. He's joining us today. Isaac knows a little something about sports, so we're going to try to get him in here and see if he can add to the show. Good to have you, Isaac.
Pleasure for having me.
All right, let's get back into it, guys. As I mentioned, last week, the Mountaineers didn't have an opponent. We had a bye week. Don't know if that's good or bad, Sam. After coming off a good win against Kansas State, it gives the guys a little breather, but at the same time, they're not playing anybody. Sam, since you're the new guy on the block, what do you think about the Mountaineers having a bye week early in the season, preparing for no one until this week?
Well, now we're going to run with an 8-game stretch right here, so in and out of the Big 12, you know, that's never an easy task for any of the Big 12 teams, but this does give us an opportunity to get ready for these games, get completely rested up from all of our preseason or all of our non-conference games. We had one Big 12 game, got a big win over K-State, which is huge for us and the program's first win over K-State since we joined the Big 12, so that was a really good thing for us 2 Saturdays ago, and I think that gives the guys some time to rest up and get ready and prepare for this 8-game stretch we got here.
Hey, I'm with that. Hey, you know, when I think about it, you know, even more so than being winning against K-State, we beat them homecoming. Yes. You know, what better place than be able to play a team in Mountaineer Field for homecoming, Gary? Talk about that.
Well, I have to tell you, there was a good crowd, a good showing. Well, got a chance to see a bunch of my old friends and teammates that were here that I hadn't seen in a long time. I think it was the right setting for us because the crowd was fantastic. There was a lot of noise in that stadium. I can remember even recording some of the buzz that I heard in the stadium. So it was a really good time for us, a really good time for the team. And it was a great setting just to get some redemption and finally get that monkey off our back and get the win against K-State.
Isaac, what do you think about it? You're a student. Have you heard anything about the festivity and what it was like for the Mountaineers doing homecoming for the Kansas State game?
Well, it was a great feeling just considering it was the first time the Mountaineers had beaten Kansas State since transitioning to the Big 12. So that was one of the bigger things. Students who were juniors and seniors, that was one of the bigger things that they looked at and really took a lot of pride in. And finally, we've knocked off each team in the Big 12. So that's something that students really took pride in. And I think as far as players, it was a momentum builder. And you always want the fans behind you, so carrying the momentum, the fans are already hyped, and the students are hyped and ready to carry on the rest of the season. Like you mentioned, it's a tough 8-game stretch, but with the momentum that the team is carrying and that the fans have, it can be pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I just think it really just does your soul good, you know, coming off a game like that, a big game, gotta rest. You know, homecoming's over with. I may get a chance to go home and see the family, recuperate, prepare to get ready for the grind. As you guys just mentioned, it's an 8-week grind. Let's talk about some of the things that happened at Mountaineer game. You know, early on, and we mentioned this last week, saying we were concerned in the first quarter. We didn't score any points. I mean, that's unlike a Mountaineer team. Many times we've talked about the Mountaineers driving down the field, at least coming away with a field goal. What happened in that first half?
Other than the missed field goal during the first half, which kind of got us there, was that first or second quarter?
First quarter.
First quarter, yeah. As we went down that way and not having any points in the first half, that put our backs against the wall a little bit coming out of halftime. K-State was moving the ball. They're a very disciplined team. They don't make mistakes, so you know the longer we go without scoring points and then continuing to put some points up here and there, it was making our job harder and harder for a comeback at that point. But I think our team regrouped at halftime. They came out. We shut K-State down pretty much on on their offensive end of the ball. We did end up forcing them to make a few mistakes there late in the game, which helped us seal it, which is characteristic for a very, very fundamentally sound K-State team under Coach Schneider there. So makes you a little nervous there after that first half, but our guys stayed the course and we got the job done.
That's the key thing that I think about it, Gary, that we did stay the course, for say, oftentimes you could be down going into a game, at halftime this team that beat us 4 times before, you can go in there with your head down and not come out with the right spirit, but our Mountaineers didn't do that, Gary. I thought he did well, but let's talk about that first half, just our inability to really connect. I just didn't think we connected well, whether we run, pass, it just wasn't working for us.
Well, I really don't think that, the team was maybe as careful. As a matter of fact, that's what I believe was happening. The team was just a little too careful. The guys, you go into a game like that, and you have to be thinking, we've been through this before. Some of the guys that's been here, 4 years, or they're seniors, juniors, and they're thinking, they're trying to anticipate what's going to happen next. You've played this team, you've had some losses, and so I think they were just a little careful, a little bit cautious about what was going to be going on in that game, and just trying to feel the game out. I think once they got their nerves settled, guys like to tell you that they don't mind, or they don't care, or they're relaxed. But having that monkey on your back and going forward, you still didn't maybe feel as though you were in the Big 12 because you hadn't gotten all the wins. So now they had a chance to get that before them. I think they got the nerves settled and just said, hey guys, let's just play football. We're 3-0 at that point. We managed to win some football games, and I think they just, like they've been doing all season, they just found a way to win.
And Coach Hogan kept the guys on. On this show, after we talking about Skylar Hart and his ability to manage the game, right? During that first half, as I mentioned, I didn't think we were connected, but yet you didn't see Skylar get flustered. You didn't see him over there on the sideline, getting upset. Seemed like, hey, he was continually preparing his team. What do you think about Skylar and his ability to manage his team through that rough period, it being the first half?
He definitely displayed a veteran demeanor that you want to see out of your quarterback, because with players on your team who are experienced, you return 8 starters on offense. The last player out of those 8 starters you want to see down is your quarterback. So I think one of the biggest parts, like you mentioned, is that he stayed composed, especially when the Mountaineers struggled to convert on 3rd downs, and that seemed like that was a constant struggle throughout the game, especially in the first half. So the ability to overcome that showed Skylar Howard's maturity and his ability to win big games at this point, and that's what you want.
And we kind of got about it, I really, and then in regard to Skylar, we had Crawford come in, and it just seemed like once we got past that second quarter, or going into the 3rd quarter, Shell had some issues early on, but it seemed like the kid Crawford and the running back seemed to have really put his team on his back, and I have to say, 3rd quarter we started to wake up, Sam. And that's what, and I feel like we started playing a little Mountaineer football then from an offensive standpoint. What do you think about that 3rd quarter?
I think we got the gears going in there in the 3rd quarter. Obviously, we started getting a few points here and there. It was a big conversion on 4th down there in the 3rd quarter, which ended up leading to the score and going for it down there, which I thought was ended up being a really good call for us. A little nervous during that time, but I think the offense, although they weren't completing everything in the first half. You said we had a little 3 and outs and not converting on those 3rd downs. But there in the 4th quarter, with them keeping the grind going and keep going, things just seemed to fall right back into place. We made adjustments there at halftime and came out with those adjustments and executed them successfully and got that extra little gear we needed as we kept on going there.
It almost felt like the team kind of believed that they can almost will themselves and prepare themselves to get out there and make it happen for themselves. When you think about, I sit back and I think about Shelton Gibson making a big catch. I think about one of the White brothers, Karan White, have a great game. There was Shorts. Nikhil Short. All of them I see, and I call them the 3 amigos, those 3 Shorts, White, and Gibson. All 3 of those guys I thought just played very well in the 3rd quarter. They, for the most part, was like, give me the ball. I want the ball in my hands. They seemed to be very productive once they got in the 3rd quarter here.
Well, I want to go back to something because very often we talk about, as a former player, I want to be on that field. Well, I wanted to have a glimpse into that locker room to try to figure out what's going on with our team. We had some showings this year that we may have, kind of been a little questionable and wondered what direction our team was going to go in. And I think this game, the Kansas State game, gave us an opportunity to look at our football team, to watch them on the field, watch them to respond to some adversity, watch them respond to some coaching changes. Some changes during halftime. And what I saw was, as you said earlier, we saw a quarterback who has gone from this season through this season so far. He's gone from managing the game to controlling the game. We have receivers who now have confidence and all faith in the quarterback. We have running backs who are running very confidently, no matter who you give the ball to. And then I think you have a team responding to that. And so what I see is we have to give the coaching staff a lot of credit. Because if your team is doing that, I don't think guys, especially between the ages of 18 and 23, that they're going to respond like that on their own. Your quarterback, the growth from the quarterback is probably most likely coming from your head coach and your quarterback coach. Those tend to be special relationships with a lot of one-on-one experience, a lot of one-on-one time. And so your head coach is always your leader. Your quarterback's coach and your quarterback, those two guys are designated leaders no matter what, no matter who's your quarterback. And if your quarterback's responding that way, we got to see how the rest of the team will respond. So I'm going to thank Skylar for being a leader, because that's what I see from him now. He's being a leader for our team. And I want to thank the coaching staff, because obviously they're putting a lot of time in. And we haven't put our best game together yet, but that's a good problem to have, because if we start doing that, especially with the changes we made in the bye week, we should have a pretty good team.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that, Isaac. I think that, and Gary kind of hit it on the head in terms of relationships and being able to coach the guys and then the players respond. I thought that went well, and I think we saw evidence of that. Again, third quarter, fourth quarter seemed to be that our team was just focusing in and getting it done.
Yeah, one thing I would like to point out, you mentioned the three amigos. I really did like that with Kevin White, the Killer Shorts, and Shelby Gibson. One of the things I feel like you left out, Javon Durant has really came on in these last two games. I believe he has about 13 receptions over the last two games, and a crucial touchdown that helped take the lead in the Kansas State game, or helped continue to take the lead in that game. So seeing guys like Javon Durant, who came back from suspension at the end of last year and has continued to grow. You saw some growing pains in the first two games, and then you've seen him come in and look a lot more mature than in the past. You've seen him hold on to balls that maybe he wouldn't have held on to last year, and I think that's one of the things you can definitely point on the site. So if you add him to what you call the three amigos, that's even dangerous, since you have Russell Shell, who's still finding his groove and still hasn't put his best game together, and then you've seen Justin Crawford be an absolute workhorse, and then you've seen pieces come together on defense also. So I would like to agree that yes, the best game on this Mountaineer team hasn't come yet, and that's probably trouble for the Big 12.
Right. Yeah. It seems like this is a breeding ground in terms of our experiment. In terms of we're 4-0, peaking at the right time. Hopefully, we're not peaking. We're kind of getting shaped up and we really take off in the Big 12. Again, big game against BYU, critical game, great opponent, and then to play well as we did against Kansas State, Sam. It really says a lot and really kind of gives us some insight into what type of team we got. Remember now, we've lost a lot of kids coming in off defense. Although we got a lot of stars and potential stars on offense, we have yet to really play the type of team that we're going to be getting ready to play in the Big 12. Preparing for the Big 12, we feel like we're in a better position. What do you think?
I agree with that. I think our team is coming together right now. We have not played a complete game yet, and I do think that when we do, that will be some trouble for the Big 12 and the rest of those teams. I think our guys are coming together real well. I think we've been riding a lot of momentum, even though we lost some guys from last year. Finishing out that shootout out in the bowl game, rolling into this year, getting a win over an SEC team in the first game of the year, beating BYU at a neutral site off campus, coming back, beating K-State here to start our Big 12 season off against the team that we haven't won. I think our guys are grinding together. I think they're moving in the right direction. I think there's been a great deal of leadership done so far this year. And I'm excited to see what happens. I really am. I do see him playing Mountaineer football. You know, it reminds me a lot of when we were playing. You know, we had a few successful years while I was here, and we had some games that were like this at the beginning of the year. We found a way to get it done and continue to move that forward and just continue to get better and better. Hopefully we do peak here at the right time. But I think we're definitely moving in the right direction, and sitting 4-0, going into the rest of the Big 12 slate is a pretty good place to be right now.
Hey, I'm not complaining about that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. Sam doing this portion, and we do a little trivia question. And remember, guys, we do this every week here at the Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill. If you don't catch us here, make sure you go check us out at DominionPost.com. Now, as I always say, to win here, all you have to do is listen closely. Now, I'm going to give you this trivia question, and all you have to do is raise your hand and give me the correct answer, and you will win a prize. The trivia question tonight was, what was the score of the last WVU game? What was the score of the last WVU game? $17-16, she said. All righty. You got some dice here. I got you some nice dice. And I wish I had my footballs. We'll catch you next week. Hey, again, ladies and gentlemen, we're down here every week at Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill on Wednesday. If you don't catch us here, make sure you go check us out at thedeeppost.com. So guys, let's get back into it. This is what we kind of do. We jump in and out. We like to talk about Mountaineer football. Let's talk about a lot of positive. And I like to talk on this side of the ball. Sam, Gary, and I are both defensive guys, so we like the defense.
That's right.
We're going to talk about
That's how we win championships. Championship.
Absolutely, you're a smart man. That's right. Hey, guys. So when we talked about how we struggled on offense in that first half of that game, and moving into the third and fourth quarter. Yet the defense seemed to be a bend but don't break type of defense. I thought we did pretty well, holding the team to under 10 points the first half, and then really shutting them down in the second half. Gary, what do you think about our defense? I thought we did pretty well.
Well, I think our defense is growing, and this whole entire team just reminds me of a champion in training. You know, I think of a boxer whose coach sets him up as the first, amateur fight, gives him somebody that can go out there and maybe beat up on, get his confidence high. That's kind of what I felt we did with the first two games with Missouri and Youngstown. Then he gets another maybe mid-ranked opponent like a BYU, sees how he handles adversity, goes out there, gets another one, confidence continues to build. Then we throw a legitimate team out there in Kansas State. Maybe not the best team out there, but still one that obviously has had our number, one that can cause you some problems. And then we go out there, face that challenge, have some drama throughout the game as you would maybe doing a heavyweight fight. See how your team deals with that adversity and that challenge, comes out a stronger, better opponent, get you some rest, and then you go into the real, you turn pro. You get out of the amateur rankings and then you turn pro. And I feel like that's where we're at now. We're about to turn pro. We've got an 8-game stretch, which is going to be hard for us. You got to train hard, you got to work hard. Guys out there got to be making sure they're going to sleep at night. Got to make sure they're not out there partying, taking this really serious. And I think that by the end of the season, if the Big 12 isn't careful, we're going to look up and maybe be, 8-0 in the Big 12. I really feel like we have a chance to do that. The belt's up for grabs, and why not have WVU be the team to take it? And I think the way that our defense is progressing, the way the offense is progressing, the way the whole team is handling this season. Sure, we got some breaks, but the way the whole team is handling this season, I think that we can come out as Big 12 champions. That's what I really feel that we can do.
And we're doing it with guys, young guys, especially on defense, when we talk about the three mainstay, and I like the new kid Darren, plays the 5 technique or the 3 technique, this 3-3-5. I like our new linebackers, all 3 of them I think are improving from week to week. And think about that. Gary, you and I both know this. It doesn't come easy, right? To be coming off that, not playing very much last year, to essentially having to step in the shoes of some big shoes. Nick Kelly-Foster, you got to be able to step in the shoes of Carl Joseph. And I think Jared Harper, Kazir White, those guys are really doing a good job. In fact, Gary, your guys, as I said earlier, are leading the team in tackles. Our DBs are leading the team in tackles, which kind of you really don't want that, but in the 3-3-5, you're going to get that, but I think we're doing pretty well.
I think the team, like I said, they look good. Secondary, I think, just like quarterbacks on offense, secondary kind of controls what's happening on defense. Those guys are the most confident. You get a bunch of wild, crazy defensive backs, you're going to have a team buzzing, a defense that's buzzing. You're going to have guys, no longer they're, designed for having a lot of Deion Sanders, who's obviously one of my favorites, but still not a guy who was known for tackling, not for a guy who was known for getting after it. You got Kazir White out there making some noise. You've got Rasul getting some interceptions, getting his hands on balls. And so we got a couple guys out there just kind of pushing defense. Our front line's being effective, and our linebackers are growing each and every game. So it looks like the team's really progressing. I think they're in a really good space right now.
What do you think about that defense, Isaac?
I would like to say they're pretty prepared heading into the stretch of the season. They face some pretty competitive quarterbacks in Taysom Hill from BYU, who they forced him to make mistakes, and that's what you want him to do because he is a playmaker. Jesse Ertz, not known for throwing the ball, but a great rushing quarterback, a guy who can space and improvise on the fly and make things happen. They contain him to 25 yards on the ground. And that's something you want to see out of a guy who makes his living out of running the ball behind the center. So that's something I'm confident in saying, considering you have quarterbacks like Mason Rudolph coming up, you have guys like Patrick Mahomes Jr. And Kenny Hill, all three quarterbacks who are improvisers and mobile. So I think this linebacker core, who you just mentioned, Justin Arnott and Al-Rashid, they're going to be more than prepared to face these quarterbacks who are mobile and able to air the ball out, because like you said, with the secondary who's buzzing and they're just aching to play, they just want to play. These are guys who you can see when they're on the field, like Rasul Douglas, they want to make a play. So when you have guys like that and you have linebackers who are growing together, it's hard to complain, like you said. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, especially over these next 3 games who you have top 5 passes. I'm looking forward to seeing them struggle, because there's a lot to see out of this raw defense.
I agree. When you got guys like Christian Brown and Noah Chaco, those guys are mainstays of our defense, and oftentimes we make it plain, or as players, we want to see sacks, we want to see tackles for a loss. But yet in this 3-3-5, it makes it a little more difficult, right, for those 3 guys up front to really get those sacks. But yet our guys have been doing pretty well. Moving in the Big 12 play, it's going to be incumbent upon those 3 to anchor that defense and let those young guys run. That's what's good about this. We got experience up front, and the young guys that we have in the linebacker core, I think it just gives them that little extra confidence to be able to play a little more looser, knowing that they can go, be reckless and not getting after the ball carrier. And I feel real good about that. I feel real good about a defense who plays like that, and I feel like we're in a good situation. Sam, what do you think about our defensive unit thus far?
Well, I know you were talking about the DBs having a lot of tackles, leading the team in tackles right now, but when we do run the 3-3-5, you've got as many DBs as you do anybody else.
You're right.
So for them to lead, that core to be the leading core on tackles right now is kind of, it's not as surprising, especially if your defensive line and your linebackers are filling their holes, filling their gaps, occupying the linemen, so they're either stretching it out and your corners and safeties are coming off the corners and making those plays as we stretch them out. So, I think our front line has been, you're right, we do like to see the sacks. We like tackles for losses. I think in the passing game that with only 3 down linemen, we are getting some pressure back there, because I think we're making quarterbacks force throws, making throws on the run, putting our defensive backs in positions to be opportunistic, and I think we've capitalized on that a few times this year, especially in this K-State game with that late game interception was big for us.
The 3-3-5 is a chess match. It's one of the defenses that you see it and you go, wait a minute, why would you put 5 defensive backs on the field? But we keep forgetting we play in the Big 12. So we're playing in the Big 12. Almost every team's out there throwing 400 or 500 yards a game. They're lining it up and they're just chucking the ball all over the place. You have to put that many defensive backs on the field. Sometimes I think what we look at is man, we're not getting the pressure. So can we bring another lineman in, or can we chop down the blitz? And I think that's where the chess match comes in. As Coach Gibby learns more of what he has on defense, he starts to learn to figure out who can I send, when can I send, what can I expect from my guys, and then as he reads those down in distant situations, I think the defense gets better week in and week out based on what he's seen from the players that we have and based on what's happening from the other team. So I think it's one of those things that, just like the saying about our team, we just continue to progress week to week, and we'll continue to see progress from our defense.
It actually complements the league that we're in, as you just mentioned. You know, Sam was alluding to the fact that we, the 3-3-5 guys, we have 3 defensive linemen, we have 3 to 4 linebackers, and we got essentially 5 guys in the secondary, which gives a lot of guys to run to the ball. And I guess that's in fact, you might say you have a bonus player because he has that spur band.
Yeah, that spur bandit out
Right.
there. So when your D-line and your linebackers are filling their responsibilities, you got some guys that can be a little hungry for the ball and boast to it, track it down, and come in and make a tackle here and there, because our linebackers and D-line are keeping those guys from getting downfield and making downfield blocks.
So what's good about it right now, and you can attest to this, is that it just gives you that confidence when you're able to stop the run, and we've been decent on the run, and be able to be very protective in the pass. We've come away, I believe we had 3 or 4 interceptions on the year so far. I think that just gives them that confidence to be able to play much looser, much better in the 3-3-5 defense.
I would definitely agree, especially because the cornerbacks and the secondary has been productive, but you can point to Justin Arnett and our Rasheed Benton, who both have above 20 tackles this season. I believe Justin Arnett was 23 and our Rasheed Benton was 21. So it's both productive guys aside from the secondary, and they're making things happen. So that's exactly what you want to see. And another thing in the 3-3-5, it also allows for a hybrid on the field a lot of times, or a more athletic guy who may be fast enough to get to the quarterback, or the same guy who can draw back into coverage. So that's another thing that you can look forward to out of this defense, and something Tony Gibson definitely took advantage of this season thus far.
We have 4 games and we're only averaging giving up 20 points a game right now.
Very productive.
Now we're going to get tested this week. His Tech scoring about 50 to 55 a game. So our defense is going to be tested a little bit, but I think they've done a great job evolving as this year has gone along. So I'm excited to see how we snack up out there this week.
I agree with it. I mean, you think about what we do. As former players, we know this guy. It's a challenge every week, right? You never go into a game saying, hey, this is going to be a little easier. It's going to be a little difficult. You go in saying, this is the next game up. We got to prepare for it like it's our last game. And we tend to go in there and get after it. So, again, it's big ups to the defense and being able to get themselves up rather than up or down, right? We've been coming. This is the first time we played from behind, and the defense come up and does exactly what that phrase, the dog stand for. Defense always win ball games.
Defense wins championships.
There you go.
I thought the second half, I mean, we limited them, and I think you're right, the bend don't break, and they definitely stood their ground there that second half and gave our offense the opportunity to get on the field and get it taken care of.
Sam, you make a good point. Sam pointed out that our defense is giving up around 20 points a game, right? That's actually, when you look across the Big 12 and see the type of numbers that have been put up there, I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? So for our team to be heading to 20 in the Big 12 and have a goal for themselves, I'm sure there's a goal on somebody's board that says we keep this team under 3 touchdowns, which is a great goal for us to have. But guys, let me go ahead. I got to give away some more stuff. It's that time again. So I want to give out another trivia question. Again, guys, to be acknowledged, all you have to do is raise your hand. Raise your hand. And if you listen to us really close, Sam always giving away stuff or giving away answers. So I'll come back with a question for you. But to win, guys, you got to be down here at the Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill every Wednesday at 6 p.m. So the trivia question today is, how many points defensively are teams, WVU is a holding teams to? How many points? We got a hand right there. 20. You're absolutely right. 20. See, again, all you have to do is listen. All you have to do is listen. And Miss, you win a 1-year subscription to the Dominion Post. 1-year subscription. Again, guys, Again, see Gary taking care of me here. There we go. We're always giving away something here at the Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill. Make sure you're down here, guys. We're here every week. You can't miss us. Guys, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving, Sam. We're going to jump right back into it. Now, there's one phase of the game that we hate talking about.
Before we go ahead and change that's the subject, I want to talk about that WVU defense because we are giving up 20 points a game, and you talk about a goal and say there's probably a goal on someone's board of what we should do. I want to go ahead and throw this out there. We're only giving up 20 points per game. However, we're giving up 191 yards rushing a game. That's a lot because no matter what, that means the other team gets to control the ball or control the clock. Our offense we're about points. Right. And the more points, the way we put up points is getting that ball back. So if we're giving up that many rushing yards, that means our offense, we're taking the ball out of our offensive game. So I feel like that one of the things that we can do for the week is to kind of really focus on shutting down that running game because Texas Tech is still getting 100 yards rushing a game.
Right.
And so, they're not balanced, but they're still respectable. They're continuing to run the ball no matter what. And we're also allowing 227. So we're still over 400 yards a game. And we remember what our old goals were back in the day when we were playing. And so I just like to see them bring that number down. I still commend them for coming up with the plays when it counts. 2-point conversion early in the season, intercepted. Ending the game against BYU, interception. Yeah. Coming up with the plays when we need them, they're doing a fantastic job of that. And I think that just shows that these guys are quick and that we've got a lot of playmakers on our defense.
Gary, that was value added, man. I mean, that's what we talk about. And that's what this thing is about, right? We just sitting up talking about the game that we love, But as I was saying, guys, there's always, we hear Coach Hogan say there's three sides of the ball. All right. We talked about our offense. We talked about a stout defense that we're very proud of, and guys. We have to say that we're very proud of you right now. But that one portion, that third side of the ball, that special teams, we're struggling with. But yet, which means that we're struggling right now in terms of special teams. There's room for improvement. We're not getting the long kickoffs like we used to. We struggled in the kicking game a little bit. Sam, what does that say about our special teams? What do we need to do to get our special teams adding value to the game?
Long kickoffs would help. It's always great when you kick out of the back of the end zone. You don't have to worry about the risk of returning there. But even though we're not getting them out of there, I feel that our coverage, we haven't given up that many long returns at all. So although our kicks may not be getting out there, where they're in field position to start with the ball, it still isn't coming out past the 40. We're holding them down within close to the same area we'd be if we kick it out of the back of the end zone. We just like it to go in the back of the end zone a little bit more, to be honest with you.
Limit that risk.
Make us breathe a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about a dangerous return guy coming out after you there. But it's that third phase of the game. It's a tricky one. I mean, I played on some of the phases, or I played more on the return side than I did on the actual coverage side. But it's that third one can make or break it. We got to have the coverage. We got to have our guys stay tight with that right now, and then continue with. Our pumps got to be down there. We got to keep it within that 15-yard area to the goal line. But I say we're struggling there. It probably is the third on our list of our phases right now. But it could be a lot worse.
I say that, but at the same time, I talk about early on Mike Milano, the new junior kicker from Hurricane, West Virginia. I have to be very proud of that kid, though. He comes off this season filling in. He saw himself as a fill-in role, but yet it's really proven himself and shown himself confident to be able to be productive for the Mountaineers in the kicking game. So again, when I say special team, and all those special team encompasses kicking, kickoff, kick return, and all those other things, we're doing okay in terms of punting and field goal kicking in general. What do you think about our special teams out there?
One thing I would like to see improved on in special teams is in the punt return game. I would like to see Gary Jennings be a little more exciting or a little more explosive, just one or the other for sure, because one of the things you see a lot, fans get excited from seeing exciting kick returns and punt returns, and I haven't seen a lot of that out of Gary Jennings. So maybe either a change or just a more motivated Gary, because far as a punt, and it's not really that exciting. So that's something I would definitely like to see improve. But one thing you did point out, Sam, that I do enjoy watching. They're not giving up too many yards on kick returns. So
Our coverage has improved. You know, gosh, I don't remember what year it was. I knew we struggled with that area there for a little while ago.
Last season.
Last season. I think they worked on it, and I think we're going back. Although we're not kicking them on the end zone, I mean, teams aren't starting past the 30, hardly coming out at us. So, you know.
Especially when you see guys in the Big 12, or guys who have come out of the Big 12 who are returners, like your Tavon Austin, your Tyler Lockett, Sterling Shepherds, who have been great returners who go on into the NFL. The Big 12 is still carrying the legacy of great returners, so that is something you do want to see, and Mountaineer fans should be proud of that the coverage has improved. So that's something I am happy to see.
What do you have to add?
This is the one aspect of our team I don't think that we have bought into the team concept. When you talk about our offense, what do we say? We say we got the 3 amigos plus 1. We talk about our running back by committee. We talk about the great job Skylar is doing. We call a lot of names on offense. When we talk about what our defense is doing and what it's allowed us to improve, we talk about the secondary play and how they buzz around and how they set that defense. We talk about our defensive linemen, and we even talk about the impact our young guys are having. On special teams, we're not calling a lot of different names. As a matter of fact, consistently, we're only calling Gary Jennings, and really, he can't do anything unless he's got room to catch the ball. So I think that's the problem with the special teams. In this area, in this facet of the game, we have not caught on to the team concept. Most people think it's just the returner. Hey, that guy's going to go back there, he's going to catch the ball, and he's going to be great. He can't be great unless they block the flyers, unless they block the people sprinting down on the field to tackle him. He can't be, our kicking game can't be great, even if we happen to get it to the 5-yard line, unless we have good coverage. So we need to buy into the team concept that we're all going to do this together. Because on offense and on defense, that's how we've been succeeding.
But let me ask you this, Gary, and see you, Sam, too, been in that spot. How does it make you feel as a player? Because I'm going to tell you how, as a player, knowing that that's the one area on your team that you're struggling in. You know what I mean? As a player, how does that make you feel? I mean, you know you're going to do well offensively. You know you're going to do well defensively. But I got this thing in the back of my head I have a question in the back of my head in regard to, I'm not sure what we're going to do special team-wise.
I think it depends on the team. Because I think if you've got a team that's really explosive on offense and that's got a great defense, the guys think the average football play lasts 4 to 5 seconds. So they just think, hey, just kick the ball 4 seconds and then I'll go do my thing. And so when you have the guys just taking it easy, minimal lackadaisical about special teams, not recognizing how important that phase of the game is. Or you could really have a team that says, you know what, this is my only time to get on the field. So I'm going to block a punt, I'm going to return, make a great return, or I'm going to get a big block for somebody, and our team will go in the locker room and film when we talk about it, rewind it a few times, talk about my big hit. So it just really depends on who you have on special teams and what their mindset is about how special teams work. But I'll tell you guys, it's not just a 4-second play, it's not just a 5-second play, and hey, let's switch. It's not an intermission. This part of the game counts just as much, maybe even more than the other two facets, just because so much is riding in a few seconds.
What do you think about it, Isaac?
Special teams.
Just keep talking.
Special teams more times than not decides field position, not just in one possession, but throughout the entire game. So when you have mistakes on special teams, it kind of reflects where either your defense or your offense is set up. And when your defense is constantly back into the wall, they're playing always on their own 40. It gets a little annoying, and you get tired. Almost always, it's hard to go out there. You can attest to that being a defensive player. You don't want to see your special team struggle, because then you start to see your offense always starting within the 20-yard line, your opponent's 20-yard line, and that's not where you want to be. So it's something that West Virginia has done well, and they've been on the right side of the 50-yard line almost always this season, and that's the truth.
Right, so far. But guys, I'm going to tell you, and I want to belabor the point. Don't let this be our Achilles heel.
Yes.
That causes a problem in the big game. People are not gonna like that, right? So let's find somebody to take charge of those special teams, and somebody take ownership. May it be a player or what have you. Take ownership of that special teams and be prepared to play.
Special teams captain. That's what we do.
Exactly, special teams captain. Somebody needs to be designated as special teams captain and lead that team, because I just feel like I'm telling you. I mean, as a former player, I worry about that, Sam. I don't want to be preparing for a game, and I know I'm good here. But I have a question mark here. All right, guys, I'm gonna move on from that. I want to talk about Texas Tech. Let's jump right into Texas Tech. Sam, you talked about, both of you guys mentioned that this is a team that just played Kansas State, the team we beat last week, 2 weeks ago. They played a very good game, very high-scoring game. I believe the score was 44-38. Tough game. And at this moment, Texas Tech has the #2 offense in the country. So they're a solid performing football team. What do you think we're running into, Gary, going against preparing for Texas Tech this week?
I mean, it's hard to say, man. That's a dangerous football team. I mean, I know they're 3-2, but it doesn't really. The 3-2 record just doesn't match. Not with the numbers, and that's why sometimes in football you can't really go off numbers. But still, 55 points a game. You know, they're getting 554 yards passing the game. You know, that's a lot of yards. And then you throw in another 100 yards of rushing. I mean, that's a dynamite football team. So, I mean, that's a real big test. I think that, just as I've been saying, this just is one of those tests, just another step for the defense, just another step, just another test for this WU football team. I think it's just right, like I said earlier, it's right in the line of building a champion. We've been consistently having just a little bit tougher opponent each week, a little bit more of a grind, a little bit more of a test. This is just another team that's sort of in the way right now. And we're in Big 12 play. It's up for grabs. Everyone's saying that. I think they're doubting our team, how good we really are. And I think that, you know, there's reason for that. But I think this game here, we keep saying bellwether because it was BYU. Then we had the test with Kansas. We got another test coming up, and it's just up to us to answer the call.
Right, the Mountaineers lead the series 3-2, which is a good thing. We're going to Lubbock Saturday, but I just want to run these numbers by. 69-17, Stephen F. Austin. Arizona State 55-68. That's over 100 points scored in the football game. Louisiana Tech 59-45. Kansas 55-19. And as I just mentioned, 38-44 against Kansas State. Isaac, that's a lot of points. That's a lot.
I'm actually really excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing Skylar Howard play a big day because they've allowed this many points. Like you said, they've been in shootouts where it's been a combined of 100 points. West Virginia hasn't been in that game yet, but this may be the shootout that West Virginia has been waiting to go into. Like you said, another test. They haven't had the shootout test with someone where it's back and forth, the complete throughout the day. This could be that game. But I think one of the keys to the game is staying true to the identity. West Virginia has ran the ball well with Justin Crawford and Russell Shell. I would hope that West Virginia and Dana Holgerson will stick to that identity to hopefully open more things up for Skylar Howard later in the game, so he can throw the ball and find guys like Sheldon Gibson and Deron White and the kill short. So hopefully sticking to the identity of running the ball and seeing Justin Crawford see these few of 100-yard games can continue because, I mean, as you can see, Texas Tech, they're not really doing much on defense. So hopefully this is an opportunity for West Virginia to experiment with a lot of different things, running and passing the ball. And on defense, show that they are a proven defense, that just allowing 20 points a game is a real thing. This is the time to prove it against the #1 passer in the country against Patrick Mahomes.
Texas. This game is going to be played in Texas. You got Skylar Howard from Fort Worth, Texas, going to Lubbock. I mean, that's pressure in itself, right? It's got to be one of his better games. What do you think about Skylar going down there in front of his hometown crowd or one of his local crowds? What's that going to be like, Sam?
Well, for one, Texas Tech is about 6.5 hours from Fort Worth. So when you're staying in hometown, there's a little distance there. There's still a day drive to get out to Lubbock from down in Dallas to Fort Worth. So from growing up in Texas, I tell you, there's still a little distance there. But, you know, I mean, me growing up in Texas, I wish we'd have been in the Big 12 at that time because you say there's pressure, but there's also fun. You get a chance to show out for your buddies and stuff like that, especially being in a school this far away from Texas. Now that we're down there, some of these kids that we're getting up here now from the state of Texas, it's a great opportunity for them to go back home, get to play in front of some guys. Some of them play against some guys that they grew up with, and get to play in front of some friends and family and all that. But I'm excited, like you were saying about the offense. I think there's a good. I'm excited to see the offense. I'm more excited to see our defense. With the fact that they throw, with the fact of what they do and what we've done so far this year on defense and the opportunities that our defenses has made, especially in the turnover game, we're gonna get a lot of chances here at Tech to get it, put a little pressure on the quarterback, see how our tackle leading DBs do back there, some coverage and all, get some chance for hopefully some interceptions and turn the ball over a little bit, win that turnover game against them. And I think that's going to be a big key to this game is if we can get that turnover game, that turnover ratio with them, will help us with the win.
And that may be the deciding factor in the game, right? Turnovers, right? Whether it be kickoffs, interceptions, or what have you. You know. But let me call the turnover right now. I'm gonna turn over this frame picture of Kevin White. Let me see here. See what I'm talking about, man? This is a nice one here. So all you had to do was really listen to what I said. You're gonna get a nice Kevin White frame picture, which I don't have, that I sure would like to have one day. And it's a great question. All you have to do is be the first one to tell me where what city WVU will be playing Texas Tech in this weekend. She was fast. You must be from Texas because you was quick. She drew that quick up. Okay, Lubbock, Texas. There you go. Thank you so much again. I should say this too. You gotta be listening, but you also gotta be fans. You know? All right, let's jump back into it, guys. Texas Tech WVU. Isaac, you mentioned somebody, Patrick Mahomes. Top-rated passer in the college football right now, doing very well. How do we stop him?
Well, he seems to be a guy, like I mentioned, he's an improviser. He doesn't necessarily stick to the script all the time, but when he does and he has time in the pocket, he seems to be dangerous. So you're kind of playing a risky situation. You can let him try and improvise, and with the type of defense that West Virginia's been running this season with the 3-3-5, you can give him a lot of confusing looks, and hopefully send some linebackers and some defensive linemen on stunts, and hopefully catch him looking downfield and get a sack. That's what it seems to be. Maybe you can have a linebacker who contains him and stays in and make that his assignment for the day. That could be a solution also. But Patrick Mahomes can make mistakes. When you pass that much and you're throwing more than 50 times a game, you are prone to make mistakes. So West Virginia's defense will have a lot of opportunities.
Gary, Patrick Mahomes is at 2,000 yards right now passing. Which, in that secondary, that's a lot of passes being thrown, a lot of opportunity. I see that as opportunity, right, as a DB or a defense. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, it's getting close to 3,000. It's 2,700 yards passing. Those are video game numbers. When you think about it, really, he's got 20 passing TDs, 7 rushing TDs. So again, let's break this down. 2,700 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 20 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, 73% accuracy, or 73% accuracy on his passing. So it sounds like he's unstoppable, but as you said, we know that's not true. All right, so they do have 2 blemishes on the record, so that comes for a reason. What's going to happen is this is the perfect setting for our football team. As much as we've talked about the 3-3-5 all season, this is the perfect chance to see our defense play against a good offense, and not only that, but to break it down in a way that play for the pass. Because no matter what happens, we talk about getting the pass rush. We talk about if there's not enough linemen to get the rush. But right now, they're passing 554 yards a game. They're passing the ball. Play for the pass. Be in your zone where you're supposed to be. If you're locked on man to man, make sure you're playing defense. Defensive backs, you know if you can touch that guy or not. You go out there the first couple plays of the game, you recognize if he's too shifty for you, back off. Play and bail out. Be smart. Play your zones. Just be a disciplined defense. And if Coach Gibby himself, he's not going to quit. So he's going to dial up some special blitzes for us to get rushing. But I think the defense just has to be consistent, and the defense just has to be disciplined.
Sammy, we're going into Lubbock, Texas. Top defense, WVU, playing against a top offense, the Red Raiders. Playing in that environment, Lubbock, Texas. What are we talking about here? That type of matchup. Who has the advantage? I would assume you'd say most people would think it would be the home team. But again, they got a score point. They got a lot of points to score. Mountaineers have a potent offense.
You're right. Tech does have the home field advantage. I mean, they are there. It does get rowdy out there in Lubbock. Their fans are very rabid and die hard, and they're behind them just like ours are here when we play at home. So they're going to have a bit of advantage on that part of it being at home. But if our defense comes out there, we can shut them down early. Hopefully make a few plays there early in the game with defense. Our offense continue battles and put some points on the board. Take the crowd out of it just a little bit. If we can do that, I hope it doesn't turn into another Baylor shootout. But hopefully our defense will make a few plays out there. Being on the road though is never easy. You guys know that as playing. We go to somebody else's backyard to play. They always got a little chip on their shoulder to protect their turf there. So we just got to be ready for that and take whatever we can get from them.
The Mountaineers are 2-0. I mean, back to back, we won the last 2 years. This is year 3 that we go down there and we play against their crowd. I'm assuming the Mountaineers go down there and take care of the business. No better time like the present. Guys, we got to get rolling. I want to give away a few more things before I head out of here. I got some T-shirts that I'm going to give away, and I'm going to ask them to give these away. All I need to do is ask a few questions. This is a portion. I got a couple minutes left. Portion for you to ask us questions. You ask the question, you get a T-shirt. Raise your hand. Start now. Any questions? Moving to the ticket. There we go. Steve, our most consistent viewer.
Since there's such a potent passing offense, and I know a good quarterback like their quarterback always wants man on man cover. So do you think last year I think they said it was 60% drop back, 40% blitz. So do you think putting more pressure on the quarterback since he likes to improvise is a better option, or drop it back?
Oh, that's a great question. His question was, do we think that it's better to do more one-on-one or type of zone or versus blitz type of scenario? What do you think about that, kid? That's a pretty good question there.
Really, I feel like this is a question for Coach Gibby because he's been the person to break down the film and be able to tell us. I think when you look at, I'm going to go with what I know and what I can talk about. So I look at maybe in comparison a player like Ben Roethlisberger early in his career, where it seemed like when he was blitzed and he had to improvise, he made more plays and he was more accurate when he was under pressure. If you got a guy who's more accurate under pressure, then you don't blitz him. You let him make the mistakes and drop back passing because you don't want to put him in a position where he's going to have success. And so I really just think that it depends on what our coaching staff has seen on film, and then they'll be able to break down what the best thing to do is.
Okay. Guys, I think we've run out of time. But listen, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. We're going to be here every week at 6 p.m. at the Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill. As I mentioned, guys, I'll see you next time. Huddle up.